All right, what's up, guys? My name is Fotis Nicolau, and this is the Calm and Profitable podcast show where we talk about how you can enjoy more leads, sales, and profits without hating your good looking self. What I would like to do today is go through an email from world renowned brain coach Jim Kwik. It's an email selling his memory course. And what I would like to do is offer a few ideas, suggestions, tips, call them what hacks, if you want to call them like that, to make this email like perform better. All right. And with that said, let me be very upfront that I have no freaking clue how the email performed for Jim. I have no idea how many sales it generated. I have no idea whether Jim liked the email. I have no idea if he actually saw the email. I have no idea if the person who wrote the email was is focusing just on emails on Jim's company, or they also have to write sales letters, ads, whatever, so their time will be like very limited and they won't be able to write like a good email. I know none of those things, all right? And I mention this because a lot of time with those types of videos or any kind of attempt to try and offer some um, suggestions on how to improve things, yeah, I mean, people often try and come off like very macho and alpha, saying, "Oh, you're making like three conversion sins. You're committing three conversion sins that butcher your sales." And they sound like retards because they're not inside the company. They don't know the numbers of the company. So for all you know, maybe the things that you believe are butchering conversions, yeah, they might be the things that they actually help conversions, okay? Or and even if you are correct, yeah, starting off like very rudely, yeah, makes you look like you're a socially retarded idiot, like socially retarded idiot. Yeah, that's double plus powerful. But yeah, I mean, again, no idea how this email performed, but I've been writing emails like for years. I have written for six, seven, and eight figure companies. And yeah, I mean, I believe those suggestions are very good and they can almost certainly improve the performance of any email. All right, so with that said, let's get started. Before we go through the body copy of the email, we have to take a look at how the email looks like on the inbox. So I took a screenshot of the email here, and hopefully you can see it. As you can see, the from name is Jim Quick, and that's a smart idea because Jim is a well-known brand. People know him. Yeah, you don't really need to use like any other from name. There are some companies who use uh, who always like tweak the from names. So my you might see like for a from name it could say like memory loss or something like that. But if you are an established brand, yeah, I mean you can use your name. No need to try and be cute with the from names. Now, here's where it gets interesting. As you can see, we have the subject line that says, "Do this to prime your brain for," and it cuts off here. Now, that's like one of the biggest, yeah, that's like a great opportunity for you to improve things because again, people, and again, I don't know the stats, okay, on Jim's list, but I would hazard a guess and say that the majority of the people on their list check their emails on their phones. All right, so they will probably only see those six words when they're going through the email. So those first six words are a prime real estate for your subject lines. So if you're really trying to squeeze as much like oomph from your subject lines, ideally you should put the juiciest part of your subject line on those first six, five. It's gonna depend on the length of the words. So yeah, on the first like those few words. And yeah, that's like a gamble you have to make, okay? And that's gonna like depend on the copywriter or whoever is like writing the emails to say, okay, those are like the most powerful words, so I might as well start the email with those. All right. Some people might read the email from their desktop. Yeah, okay, but still, the point stands that the first few words that people see are the words that are gonna grab their attention and make them decide, okay, I'm gonna open this or I am gonna ignore this. So ideally, you wanna make those first few words Very powerful. All right. And that's where you try and use maximum curiosity, for example, or you use some power verbs or whatever. All right. So let's go through the subject line here and see if there are like some areas for opportunity. Now, by saying do this, the writer tries to create some curiosity, okay, to intrigue the reader. And that's okay, but I see a lot of subject lines in almost all in like multiple niches that they also use the word this on the subject line. And it's always the same case. Okay, the writer is trying to use curiosity. They can't come up with something that's like really intriguing, and they default to the word this. And if that was like the early stages of the internet, yeah, saying this, yeah, it could probably help you stand out. But yeah, I mean, if you are in a very competitive market, using the word this over and over again, yeah, it's not gonna help you stand out a lot. It's okay if you do it like every once in a while, but if you're gonna try and combine curiosity and a benefit in the subject line, which is like what the writer is trying to do here, they need to come up with something like much better for curiosity. And there are like a lot of uh, things you can do here. Maybe in the email, you're talking about, I don't know, maybe perhaps a unique way on how you can read the book to make you retain the information better. And maybe the tip is to take a book you're reading, and instead of reading it like this, okay, to turn it a little bit like this, okay, so there's like a flip. So maybe the curiosity becomes turn your book by so many degrees to prime your brain for high performance or something like that. I mean, if I'm not, if I cannot look at the content, it's kind of hard for me to come up with an example. But yeah, I mean, you can tell that, okay, your book by so many degrees, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit more intriguing than simply saying do this. Okay, because do this, I mean, they're just like words. But if I can actually like paint a picture in your head that you're holding a book and you're turning it by so many degrees, and doing so, you will be able to prime your brain for high performance. Yeah, that's more powerful. And yeah, it's gonna increase the curiosity of a subject line. Hell, I don't know. Maybe you can use like an example, like maybe I don't know, like okay, place your tongue there to prime your brain for high performance. Okay, the more outlandish you can make something sound and still connect it to the email, the better. In fact, since we talked about language, since we talked about the tongue, you can actually like take your tongue, put it like on top of your mouth, like this, and yeah, this is gonna help you like breathe easier. So I don't know, I always thought that that's like a cool trick that you can use. So anyway, this is regarding the curiosity. Now let's talk about the benefit part of the subject line. Prime your brain for high performance. Now the problem, it's a good benefit, but as we will read later in the email is talking about memory. And there's a little bit of a disconnect for me there. So we're talking about prime your brain for high performance, and then we're talking about how to strengthen your memory. There's a little bit of a disconnect. Ideally, we would like the subject line to talk about memory, all right? And there's an extra reason to make it talk about to make the subject line talk about memory, and that's because if someone has like memory issues, they don't remember where they put their kids, or they can't remember names, you need to actually picture your audience as like they're waking up in the middle of the night and they go like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do X. Okay, and X is like a benefit that's going to be like very compelling to your audience. So I don't think that anyone is going to wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh my gosh, I wish I could prime my brain for high performance. That's probably never going to happen. But they might wake up and say, oh my God, I wish I could remember where I put my keys or I wish I stopped forgetting where I put my keys all the time, or I wish I didn't forget people's name so easily. So that's like something that people need. And ideally, your subject line, which is like all the headline for your email, it really needs to have like a very strong benefit that's really going to resonate with your audience. All right. So with that said, let me see if I have anything else to mention. Oh yeah, we have the preview text, which is open up for the ultimate prime. So yeah, I mean, we have no idea what the preview text wanted to say here. Ideally, you just there are like a few options for the preview text. You want to maybe you want to make it like a continuation of the subject line. But again, you will have to send an email to yourself, see how the subject line makes how the subject line looks like, and then you will have to match the preview text to the subject line. Maybe you can have like a different idea in the subject line that in the preview text that you didn't have enough space on the subject line, but you can add it on the preview text. There are like lots of ideas here. You can also add a specific code that just eliminates the preview text so it looks empty. And in some inboxes, it might stand out. So this might help you get to the click. Lots of ideas. My suggestion is if you can write a decent subject line, you can write a decent like preview text. So whatever I mentioned about the subject line, yeah, you can use the same information for the preview text. All right. Now, man, we're almost like 20 minutes in. We just talked about the subject line and the preview text. Okay, so I'll try to speed things up. So let's see now. We're the first thing we see when we open the email is, did you know that memory is a force multiplier? Now that's a very good idea, and ideally, I would like the writer to expand on it. But as we see, yeah, they don't really expand on it that much. So again, we have like different ways to write an email like that moving forward. But if I had to suggest something, I would suggest picking the idea of memory being a force multiplier and really drilling down on it. And there are a lot of ways that you can do this. Maybe you can share a story about how Jim came up with this um, realization. All right. Maybe he read a book. Maybe he helped a Hollywood star remember some of his lines, some of their lines. And yeah, I mean, that's when he dropped the quote, yeah, your memory is a force multiplier. Or maybe he helped like a very well known politician, or maybe he had a very problematic client that really struggled with their memory, and then yeah, I mean, he helped them realize that okay, memory is a force multiplier. I'm not sure if this is like a quote that's original to Jim, or if it's like a quote that's like very well known in the memory space, because I haven't like done much. I haven't like read much content on it. But yeah, I mean, this is a powerful idea, so you might as well like double down on this idea and give as much detail about it as possible. And this is like something that I see a lot of like writers skip, and it's like they come up with a like very great idea and they don't like really focus on the idea that much, and that's a bad thing to do, because in most industries, especially the information publishing industries, where there's like lots of articles, lots of videos on any topic, yeah, people already know the surface level things. All right, so I don't know. I mean, you could probably gain like a good understanding about how to improve your memory by reading the first page of Google, okay, and going through all the articles and the videos. This is going to give you like the 80% of the insights that you need. But if you would really like to go deeper and get like the 20%, yeah, that's where you would like an expert like Jim. And this is a great opportunity for Jim to shine here. Okay, so for example, this brings me back to the to the idea that you need to actually drill down it. Okay, how did you discover this idea of memory being a force multiplier? And perhaps the best guy who does this is, yeah, one of my mentors, Ben Settle, because he's like very good in inspiring people not just to buy from him, but also to consume and benefit from whatever it is they're selling. And I have a great example here. It's like one of his issues, the email players newsletter. And the newsletter has the headline "World's Greatest Living Copywriter Secrets to Never Struggling for Email Ideas." Now, this applies to you no matter your industry, because the principle behind it is like very powerful. So essentially, Ben is talking about Gary Bencivenga, who is like the world's greatest living copywriter. And yeah, I mean, how he actually made sure that he never struggled to come up with copy ideas, and he never had like writer's block and whatever. And Ben spends like 2 pages, like really building Gary up, okay, and giving you like a lot of depth about Gary, how rare is to find like an interview or any content of his, the problems that he had as a copywriter at the beginning, because he really struggled to make his copy perform and convert and generate sales. And then eventually, he gives you like a 6 word quote that really helped Gary overcome like all his challenges. Now, what's interesting is that the quote, if I just told you the quote now, I'm not going to do this. Yeah, I mean, you would be like, okay, I already knew that. But since Ben already did a lot of groundwork, like uh, preparing you, pre-selling you on the importance of the idea, you're way more gonna be you're gonna be way more likely to accept whatever it is he said, and yeah, actually apply the information. That's something that Jim can do, you can do in your business, anywhere. Okay, so give people more depth whenever you present them with a new idea. I believe that the force multiplier idea is a very good, it's a great topic, and I would like to get more context on it. Okay, stories, examples, case studies, not just like benefits of what my memory is gonna do for me when it works like very well. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing that really stands to me is that really stands out to me is that the font here is like very small. All right, and yeah, I mean, I I would hazard a guess and say that whoever like loaded the email, yeah, they're probably like very young, or they have like perfect eyesight. But that's not the case for most people. And in most markets, you're gonna be the people with money are tend to be older. Okay, so maybe they're like 35, 40, 45 plus or more. Okay, they're not like 25-year-olds. So you have to keep in mind that their eyesight is not gonna be good. Like for example, if I take my glasses off, I cannot read this. I have to go here to actually read the email. And yeah, this is gonna be true as well for most of your clients. Again, especially if they're older. In fact, I remember a very cool story from Stefan Georgi, who's also one of the best like active like copywriters in the world, who he had written a sales letter for a vision supplement. Their audience was people in their 40s or more, and he increased sales by, I think, like 20% by just increasing the font from 12 to 16. So he literally picked the number 2, he substituted for number 6, and he increased conversions. That's crazy. So yeah, definitely, if you're gonna write an email, yeah, keep in mind that most of your people probably are gonna have like eye problems. The majority of your list are gonna have like eye problems. So you might as well like pick like 14, 16, even like 18 font size. All right, because that's gonna like make it like easier for them to read. And yeah, I know that some people say, "Oh yeah, I mean you can just like make it bigger," but trust me, I mean I have noticed what happens with myself whenever I'm opening an email. If the font is small by default, I'm not gonna be asked to just increase this. I'm like, okay, screw you guys. You should have thought about this. I'm not gonna spend any time reading your email. So yeah, always make sure that the font size it at least at 16. All right. So yeah, this is gonna really help you with conversions. Now, um, I'm not gonna read the entire email, but one thing that I also noticed here is that in this part, in those like okay, three paragraphs, we're talking about the memory, and then here we make a switch and talk about how a good memory primes your brain for high performance. And we keep talking about the brain, the brain, the brain, the brain. Okay, the brain is also your number one wealth building asset, etc. Uh, I think this is going to confuse people. All right. And this is something that I mentioned in the past that I'm not sure if I have mentioned it on Facebook, but whenever like, okay, I'm like coaching copywriters, I tell them try and have like one big idea in the email. All right. So you might think that having good memory is connected to having like a brain that's primed for high performance, but this connection might not be as clear to your audience. So if you're going to talk about memory, yeah, just talk about memory. Don't mention brain on the second half of the email. Okay, just focus on memory. Just be as focused as possible, because if you don't do so, you're gonna confuse people, and they're probably gonna feel like stupid. They'll think that, oh, did I miss something here? Yeah, and they're not gonna like go back and try to connect the dots. They're just gonna leave. All right, that's also like very important. So try and have like one idea in your email. And let's see, let me take a look at my notes here. Uh, yeah, so your brain's also right, attack and yield many benefits long life. Okay, so yeah, another issue that not an issue, but it feels like a little bit clunky, is that we go from here. That's right, implementing simple brain training techniques can yield immediate benefits and long lasting results. To make it even easier to get started today, I'm offering you a 20% discount. So, and on the most complete memory training available online, quick recall. So that's a little bit clunky to me. I feel the transition is a little bit abrupt. Like we go from the relationship building part of the email or the authority building part of the email, depending on how you're going to structure the email, to the call to action a little bit too fast. Okay, so ideally, I would like to have a few words, a few paragraphs here, going from from the memory stuff to the course that I am selling. All right. It's a little bit abrupt. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna try and write this down. I'm not gonna try and come up with what to say, because I'm already like 23 minutes in. But yeah, I mean, between here and here and here, yeah, I would definitely add a few extra words to make the transitions like more smooth. All right. So let's see what else I have mentioned here. Yeah, that's okay. There are some people who say, oh, okay, don't use click here because this is gonna spam. This is gonna trigger the spam filters. I'm not sure that's an issue really, especially if you have like good deliverability, a good domain reputation. But one thing that I like doing is to, instead of saying to get started now, I would again add a benefit. So click here to strengthen your memory, or click here to stop forgetting all the time. Maybe I would make it more positive. So click here to get superhuman memory, because that's the subject line Jim uses on the sales letter. But definitely don't say to get started now. Use a benefit. And you can also like skip the click here stuff and just have the benefit. So strengthening your memory today, something like this. All right. But yeah, don't also make sure that you mention the benefit. Let's see what else. What else is after? Oh yeah, that's a biggie. I wouldn't mention the guarantee in the email, and the reason we do this is because we haven't done a good enough job selling the course yet. Okay, we haven't built enough value to their in their eyes about the course. So the last thing you want to do is to put in their head the idea that, hey, you can get a refund, you can get a refund if you don't like it. Now that's a finer detail, to be honest, and maybe I'm like very nitpicking things here, but no, I mean, I wouldn't mention the guarantee. I would mention it if it was like very strong, so you get like double your money's back if you can prove that you uh, went through the course and did the exercises, something like that. And to be honest, if I had like a strong guarantee like this, I would write an email around this type of guarantee. So the subject line would be double your money back if you don't improve your memory in 31 days, something like this. But in an email where we just like did some relationship building, we gave some sort of soft value in the form of maybe a tip or whatever, I wouldn't mention the guarantee on the course, because again, you don't want to put in their head, in their mind, the idea that, oh, I can get a guarantee. No, that's bad. So yeah, I wouldn't do this. And then as for the second call to action, I think that's a little bit too stuffed. To get started, click here, use the code wellness20 at checkout and save 20% of your registration. Join me on this extraordinary journey of learning. That was a mouthful, right? Maybe use code wellness at checkout to save 20%, maybe something like this. Or use code wellness and save 20% on the best memory course in existence, something like that. But that's too long. And yeah, I would definitely change it a little bit. So as your brain codes, my passion to help you unlock your mind, but by making the ordinary, making extraordinary, let's do it together. That's a little bit weak as an ending, to be honest, as well. So I would probably, yeah, I mean, I would just remove this and say, to your success, Jim Kwik. All right. And you could have a PS at the end, not necessary, to be honest. Like, it's not really necessary. So, yeah, that was pretty much all. Again, I could definitely go through every line of the email and give like, okay, give my feedback on it. Yeah, I'm not gonna do this because we're almost like 30 minutes in. So yeah, I mean, that was all. I hope you enjoyed this. While I have like your full attention, like, and if you would like to gain to get more of this stuff, yeah, here's what I would like to do. I have a website that you can go to. That's calmandprofitable.com. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested, you can scroll down here and my you can join my glorious email list and get a valuable formula that I call 10-minute post launch profits if you click the button here. And yeah, I mean, this formula is gonna show you, it's a very simple method that you can use after launching a mid or high ticket offer to your email list. And as the title says, you can profit from it with as little as 10 minutes of work. It's a formula that I have used to increase the sales of for a client of by up to 30%. All right. So yeah, I mean, no promises that it's gonna do the same for you, but yeah, it's a very good tool to have that's been battle tested. So yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna enjoy it. Anyway, that was like my first ever like review that I'll publish. So yeah, hopefully this went well. And yeah, that's all. I'm running out of steam here. So take care, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.